In the era of information explosion, all kinds of predictions continue to impact people's vision, among which Japanese cartoonist Nagarjunori's prediction about 2025 has attracted many people's attention and triggered widespread concern and hot discussion. Behind this prediction, a combination of personal mystical experiences, fantasy dreams, and geological science-related discussions, full of mystery. The story goes back to the 1970s, when the 16th century French prophet Nostradamus' The Centuries was widely popular in Asia. In the 72nd poem of the 10th century of the book, the description of, in July 1999, the King of Terror fell from the sky, caused people to fear and speculate about the end of the world. In Japan, the Japanese translation of the book soared to 2.5 million copies by July 1999, making it one of the bestsellers at the time. In 1999, as Nostradamus' doomsday predictions were being debated, Nagarjunori published a comic book collection, The Future I See. On the cover of this book, there's a line of small print. The disaster is in March 2011. However, under the strong influence of Nostradamus' prophecy at the time, the comic did not receive much attention. After 1999 and the millennium passed, the end of the world did not come as predicted, and people gradually forgot Nostradamus' prediction. But the global outbreak of the new coronavirus in 2020 has brought Nagarjuna back into the public eye. She claimed that the plague had been predicted in a comic book published in 1999, and mentioned that the book predicted that the plague would strike again in 2030. The comment instantly made her and her cartoons an internet sensation. People have sought out the manga, which is more than 20 years old, and due to high demand, some comic books have sold at auction for more than 100,000 yen, about $1,000, a copy. Users who got hold of the comic book found that the cover prediction of a disaster in March 2011 seemed to match the 9.0 magnitude earthquake that struck off the northeast coast of Japan on March 11, 2011. The quake, the strongest ever recorded in Japan, triggered a tsunami as high as 40.5 meters, which rushed the land at 700 kilometers per hour, causing massive damage, and triggered the Fukushima nuclear disaster, with economic losses as high as $235 billion. Japanese netizens regretted that if they had paid attention to the prophecy in Nagarjunori's manga and made preparations in advance, they might have been able to reduce a lot of losses. Nagarjunori's powers of prophecy stem from a bad cold he had when he was 9 years old. When she was lying in bed, many strange ideas popped into her mind. Just then she saw an old man with a white beard, and she instinctively felt that this old man was a creator. Since then, she has had frequent precognitive dreams, and the things in her dreams often become reality after a while. As she grew older, she sketched her dreams and gradually assembled them into dream comics. She once dreamed of the death of Princess Diana of Britain, and the dream on August 31st, 1992, was exactly 5 years apart from the real death of Princess Diana on August 31st, 1997. She also dreamed about the eruption of Mount Fuji many times and interpreted it as a symbol of social phenomena, such as the Great Depression. She dreamed twice in 1976 and 1986 that the British rock star Mercury was dying of a strange epidemic, while in reality Mercury was diagnosed with AIDS in 1987 and died of complications from AIDS in 1991. In 1998, Nagarjuna went to India to meet the great Sai Baba. Although he has no traditional experience of worship, Sai Baba knows the scriptures and has a large following in more than 170 countries around the world. When Nagarjuna meets him, he recalls that in 19th century England, Sai Baba was a journalist and she was his daughter. After this trip to India, Nagarjuna's ability to predict dreams seems to have improved further. In 1999, she dreamed that there would be a disaster in March 2011, and although she could not change the content of the comic, she added this information to the cover of the book before publication, hoping to serve as a warning, but it was not taken seriously at the time. In 2021, Nagarjuna made public a new prediction. There will be a great disaster in July 2025. At 4:18 a.m. on July 5th, 2021, she dreamed that in the Pacific Ocean, west of the Hawaiian Islands and south of Kamchatka, two giant dragon-shaped creatures were moving rapidly westward, reaching the center of the Philippine Sea Plate. Then there was a dull sound on the seafloor. The water boiled, and then an explosion. The water rose more than 100 meters high, 3 times the height of the March 11th earthquake and tsunami. The tsunami is expected to engulf about 30% of the eastern Japanese archipelago, inundating an area of about 110,000 square kilometers, 200 times the area inundated by the March 11th earthquake and tsunami. The cities of Ilan, Hualien, and Taitung in the east of the island are also likely to be hit hard, although Taichung and Taipei to the west are likely to be less affected due to high mountains, such as Yushan. More surprisingly, the dramatic movement of the ocean floor will also cause land uplift, and a new land mass will emerge, connecting Taiwan, Hong Kong, and the Philippines. From a perspective of geological science, the Philippine Sea Plate is a diamond-shaped structure as an oceanic plate. It is heavier than the continental plate, will subduct in the subduction zone with the Eurasian Plate. Under normal circumstances, this subduction is a long, gradual process of millions of years, such as the Andes Mountains in South America, when the oceanic plate subduction causes the continental plate to slowly lift up. However, if the subduction action is extremely violent, a large number of oceanic plates are pushed under the continental plate in a short time and even rush to the mantle layer. It may cause a rapid uplift of the continental plate, while stirring the mantle magma, resulting in the eruption of magma, and then forming the continental movement. But to lift up a new land mass linking Taiwan, Hong Kong, and the Philippines, plate movement on this scale has not been seen since the last Great Flood. Taiwan is prone to earthquakes, but historically has been less threatened by tsunamis. The 1999 921 earthquake, which measured 7.3 on the Richter scale and was centered in Taiwan's central mountains, did not cause a tsunami. Of the 10 largest tsunamis recorded since 1661, the largest was the 1867 Keelung tsunami, which was 6 to 8 meters high. Due to the steep and high terrain of Taiwan's eastern and central mountains, the tsunami damage to Taiwan is relatively limited if the earthquake occurs under the eastern Pacific Ocean. Nagarjuna Nori refers to the July 2025 disaster as the Great Disaster and the March 11th earthquake in 2011 as a Great Disaster, and the difference in magnitude between the two disasters can be seen from the words predicted in her dream. However, in another foreknowledge dream of Nagarjuna Nori, she saw a beautiful scene of people loving each other and helping each other in the post-disaster world, and an era of soul is coming. She described the aftermath as a time of calm and tranquility, spending more time with their families. And after the arrival of this era, she no longer needs to understand the future through prophetic dreams.